Welcome to the weekly open mic. I'm Aaron. A couple reminders. Ask questions. No, I'm kidding.
Don't ask.
Why am I just completely drawing a blank? I saw his face on the camera and now I'm drawing a blank. All right. I'm going to call out on someone and have them answer a question for me. Jesse, how many MSPs have been successful without asking any questions?
0.
You had the gain turned all the way up on your mic for that one. Thank you.
Yep.
Who's that? I don't recognize that voice.
It's T-Pain.
That's
Is that our favorite Canadian
T-Pain.
gracing us with his voice?
That's the Hildebeest. So what Jesse is referring to is one of the indicators of whether or not an MSP is going to be successful with automation is whether or not they think they're an expert. If you come into this thinking that you're the most awesome automator ever, you're probably going to fail. But if you come into this thinking, I don't know what I'm doing, I need help, I have questions, you're actually likely to turn into a damn good automator. So ask questions in the coop, ask questions in your private channel. Shoot, ask questions on this call if you want. While we're talking, you can drop questions in the chat. And when a free time opens up, we'll come in and respond. Also, this call tends to be highly technical because you folks want to learn and do some R&D around what automations other MSPs are doing or robbing and duplicating. And so with that, there's a lot of technical discussions. If you're a CEO or founder of an MSP or another non-technical person, feel free to listen in and get some automation ideas from the automation folks here. With that, I'm going to pass this over to Ashe. Ashe, it feels like it's been a month. Are you back?
I'm back. Well, last week I barely had any voice at all, so you guys probably thought I was somebody completely different. But that was wild. Yeah, I went to Puerto Rico for the first time with my son. I brought him and to meet his friends that he's been friends with online. So that was really cool. But we don't need to talk about me. We are going to have a fun agenda here with some new voices and some familiar voices. But first, we are going to start with Frank. You are giving us our product update today, aren't you?
Yep. Thanks, Ashe. Hey, everybody. Daniel misses you all, so he says, from solitary confinement where we have him kept. But he'll probably be back on here at some point with the product update. I'll share my screen here for you all to see the docs page where we keep the updates. Hopefully you can see it all. A couple of things that we've been working on around the integrations is we added the domain-wide delegation support for Google Workspace, so that helps you all with some of the permission setting. A number of bug fixes, you can see most of them there. The dashboard, we had some inconsistency in the data. We still have some more to work on there, but you'll see the numbers start to be much better in terms of task counts and workflows executed. Integrations, we fixed a Huntress integration pagination issue, so hopefully you won't see the issues with that if you're using the Huntress integration. And then a couple of fixes on the app builder side as well to just make it a little bit more stable. We got some more work to do on app builder on some bugs we have, but we're keeping an eye on those. Coming around the corner, we have, so when you sign in to get in the platform, you'll see that Entra ID. We want to make that more simple and just call it sign in with Microsoft. The first time I ever saw it was a little bit odd to me. Doesn't really, affect anything, but want to make that cleaner. And we've got the Drop Suite integration, BVoIP integration, and Leader integration all on deck. And we have some hourly dashboard updates that are going to be coming to give you more granularity on the dashboard in terms of task usage. And then We have a few other things that aren't listed here that are in the works. They're a little bit more longer running feature functionality work, but keep an eye out for the AI work that's coming around the corner, some rate limiting work. We're not going to take your workflows and put a low ceiling on them, but we want to take care of those really crazy runaway workflows that maybe get in an infinite loop so they don't cause issues. So we have good just work on the reliability and resiliency side. That's it on the product side. Ashe, over to you.
Thank you. All right, so now we're going to get totally not Daniel, Jesse, to jump up and do our marketplace update for us.
Shared. I'll try to channel my inner JP. He is out on vacation. I don't know where he is, but he's from Champaign, Illinois. So if I had to guess, he's probably running around telling people that if they're calling it sparkling wine, or if they're calling it champagne, you can only do that if it's from Champaign, Illinois. Otherwise, it's sparkling wine. So bit of a factoid for you guys there. So for new crates and enhancements, no new crates released this week, but we do have some that are upcoming that I'll talk about a little bit. For bug fixes and chores, we got some stuff done with Google Workspace for the onboard and offboard versions for Google. Fixed a bad reference to an org variable that was in the create ticket sub. Updated the default PSA org variable picker. We fixed an issue with Halo PSA. Updated some of the conditions for the org variable configuration form, and then updated some of the options generators associated with those forms as well. So a few improvements there. For the configure organization variables crate as well, added a new field for the folks who are using enable. So if you're using enable and running PowerShell, then you've got some additional features that you can leverage there. For the syncing Azure AD account information with ConnectWise PSA contacts, we added in a new data alias for ignored users on the no-op. For user offboarding, there was a issue where it was creating new contacts when it shouldn't have been, so we updated the sub workflow for that so that it'll find the matching contact and disable them. And then last one here was for documenting group details version 2, raised the default group member retrieval limit from 100 to 999, and then added in pagination so that if you go over 999, you will still receive those results back. And then coming soon, some new stuff that we're working on. So we're working on refactoring the sync last logged in info to PSA asset crate. That's JP that's working on that one, I believe. We've got the BitLocker activation and BitLocker management crate series that we're working on. I think some of those are JP, some of those are Paul as well. Paul is working on a workstation offboarding workflow. So I know that's been a hotly anticipated one that we're working on and hoping to have that out in the coming months. And then the last one is when we re-released user onboarding and offboarding, we made the notes and the logging for offboarding pretty comprehensive. I don't think we gave the same care for the onboarding stuff, so we want to get that up to par with the offboarding workflow. So if you're using both and you've noticed that offboarding gives you this nice kind of printed out list of everything that it did at the end, trying to get the same functionality in for onboarding, that'll be something we work on over the next few sprints as well. So that's us on Marketplace.
All right, Jesse, thank you. And I think that while you were doing that in the chat, everybody has unilaterally agreed that you are now on the open mic every single week.
Go.
Oh, you know.
And I've also put it in your yearly goals, Jesse. As part of your goals, you have to be on the open mic.
Perfect. Or else.
Thank you so much. All right, so now we are going to jump over to Clea.
Hello, Chief Baby Officer is waking up from her nap, so I'm going to make this a quick one. But also, she was 10 days old when she joined her first customer open mic, and now she's like 10 months old. So she's been begging for a new job title. I will take any and all suggestions in the chat. Some shout outs, ignore the title at the top. Yes, we are back in the year 2020. Some of us would say we have never left, but we are still humans, still making typos on documentation pages, but we'll get that fixed. Shoutouts, recently certified folks go out to Jeremy, Jip, Arlo, Jasmine, Orion, Kyle, Kabir, Wamaima, Kurt, Manish, Alexander, Niels, Andrew, Carlton, Obi, and Florian, and our very own Paul for Rewst Foundations. More shoutouts to Kabir, Cody, Nolan, Austin, Andrew, Niels, Carlton, Manish, Alexander, Craig, and Micah for passing the clean automation exam. As usual, reach out to us in the CluckU Discord channel. You can also email us at clucku@rewst.io, and we've got office hours every Friday. Not this morning because Eddie was on a well-deserved vacation, but he'll be back next Friday. What's new at Cluck University? Also, I could, be chaotic and switch us to light mode. Whoa, just kidding. Let's go dark again. Oh no, I can't change it back. Okay, here we go. That's better. Good morning, everyone. We have launched a brand new course, and the title is kind of tricky. So I just want people to raise their hand if you have ever related to this. It's your first month. You've gotten maybe your RMM integration, maybe your PSA integration set up in Rewst, but you're like, what the heck? I don't know what to do. I need to build something quickly. I need to get that value from the platform. Show ROI with Rewst. Can anyone relate to that at all? Or did you all just have a super easy time, automating things? So I see at least a few hands in there. That is what this course teaches you to do. All you need to have is your RMM and PSA integrated. It shows you how our hero, a small business owner named Jack, builds a Rewst automation step by step with some best practices in mind. Shout out to Dan Hayes, who helped us adopt the workflow build. Depending on what you want to achieve, there's multiple ways to build a workflow in Rewst. And so there's a call out here to work with your automation strategist on the best strategy to build the thing, always. We've also added some question level feedback to our technical pre-assessment. So if you're not sure whether to start with automation basics or Rewst foundations, take the quiz. You'll probably fail it like I will, but now when you do, or if you pass, you'll get feedback that tells you why the right answer is right, why the wrong answer is wrong, give you a little bit more context and some prep for the next steps ahead. We've also given a facelift to our Jinja in Action course, so you will now see text above the video. You'll see a new lunch menu practice exercise. And yeah, just making sure that we're updating a few videos too. Sorry, crying baby has been thrown off my week. Daycare was on vacation, and it's a whole different situation for parents. If you know, you know. Do make sure that you give some love to the documentation pages here. Like there's an awesome prompt to combine similar tickets crate, additional Agent Smith guidance, Rewst actions for CSP, all the things. That is it for education. And thank you, back to you, and I'll go get baby.
Thank you, Clea. I did like Tom's option for Chief Smile Strategist, and maybe you can let her know that so that it'll like psychologically motivate her to be happy. All right, let's, before we jump into the customer demos, let's jump over to George, who's got some fun updates for us.
Hello. Yes, some quick notes on just some upcoming places where Rewst are going to be. If you're part of the IT Nation Evolve communities, Rewst is going to be there next week. So make sure you say hi to Olivia and Brian, who are going to be out there. And then the following week in Denver, there is the Exchange Conference. So any folks who are going to be out in Denver in a couple of weeks, Rewst will be there as well. So please stop by and say hello to the team. Olivia and Co will also be there as well. For those of you who missed the announcement as well for our webinar this month, it's focused on Halo PSA and our integration with them. So I'm just going to drop the link in that for the chat. So for any of you guys out there who are leveraging Halo for your PSA, or maybe you're considering looking at it and just want to see how folks are using it in conjunction with Rewst to eliminate manual processes, yeah, check that out in a couple of weeks. We'd love to see you on there. It's going to be a good time. But An even better time is today, International Cat Day, as we announced last week. And so at Rewst here with staff, we've been having an internal competition with staff sharing their photos of cats, and so we wanted to roll that out to the community this week as well. So first of all, thank you to all the folks who shared lovely pictures of their kitties in the coop this week. Some great additions. And yeah, shout out to Dave as well, the cat rescuer. I think has got 4 kittens, he was saying in the pre-show, that he rescued from a boat as well. So shout out to Dave. His kittens are in the coop there. But after voting, we do have a winner and an award, and that is going to go to Billy Fodor, who I think is on the call today. So Billy, I'm going to reach out to you on Discord, and we're going to send you some rare Rewst swag. So congratulations to you. Thanks for sharing your awesome photo of your cat. And yeah, if this is the kind of thing, if the community would like more access to some of the other internal employee engagement stuff that we do at Rewst, we're happy to make it available to you guys as well. So let us know if that's something you've enjoyed and want in on, and we can do some more stuff like that later this year as well.
You good? We good? Move on?
Yes, thank you.
Awesome. Congratulations, Billy, and to everybody. I loved seeing the cats. And then on the theme of the cats, some inspiration to share can sometimes be brought out of some inspiration to share in different ways. So I wanted to give Dave from First Column IT the floor to show off one of his workflows. And this is your very first time demoing, right?
It is.
Awesome. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got introduced to Rewst and what you're going to show us off today?
Sure. My name is Dave. I work for First Column IT. I am the senior engineer here and also, I guess, now the lead of automation. Before using Rewst, I built every automation we had in code, using Node.js, PowerShell, C#, things like that, and we developed our own in-house applications in my free time. But now we're using Rewst to centralize all that and hopefully make it a little more convenient and stable, I guess is the right word, where it doesn't change as often as other things do. So that's the goal. The workflow I'm going to show today is a workflow that I built out that allows, should bullet over here, that allows our team members in our company to use packs to make license purchase requests without having to have one of our team members log into packs and handle purchasing license for them. They can make a request through a form through the app page. Let me get my screen shared here. Where'd it go? I had it open, ready to go, and it went away. All right. So I'm not quite sure. I've only been to a couple of these, so I'm not quite sure exactly how to go through this, but I have some screenshots and stuff of what it looks like for other users, plus what the emails they get and things like that, obviously with our company names and stuff hashed out so nobody can see that. But the way this workflow works is a form is called on our app page, which is right here. Come back form. I had the form up. Nope, can't be on the desk.
I think cats are negative time savings. Change my mind.
It's always when you don't want them to be on your desk, they're on your desk. I had screenshots for this ready to go, and I don't know what happened to them. I guess I didn't save them. Anyway, let's see. And now Rewst isn't loading the form page for me. It's just blank.
Do you want to take some time or to try and find those things and we can come back, or do you want to run with it? however you're.
Let me just pull it up here. Okay, so there's just a form on our apps page that allows you to click on a button in the apps page. It pops up a form that allows you to select a client from the list of our available clients in Rewst, as well as select the ticket number from our ConnectWise manage instance, and then select the license count that you want to get. I'm pulling up all this up while I talk about it. And once a user hits submit, that submit request then goes to Teams through the workflow. Teams then presents to a group of people that have permissions to get these license notification requests and perform an action based on that request. We'll get who requested it, the company they're requesting it for, the license number they've requested, and the ticket ID. We'll be able to approve, and all the users will see who approved and also log that the API did receive the response successfully. And in that happens here in the workflow where the user makes the submit. We grab the user details who submitted the request. They get an email that Rewst did get the email request from the form. We grab some API key information. We create a unique identifier later used in the SQL database that we're storing this information for. I'm losing train of my thought of the word here for it is, but we're recording it for later on if we need it outside of a ticket count. We're grabbing the ticket details based on the ticket number that the user submitted in the form. Today's date for the logging information. We're grabbing our PAX identification number through the API and through the Rewst organization. I also added getting the current license counts from the 365 tenant that we're querying against. And the reason for this is because we don't want users requesting licenses if they didn't check the tenant for existing licenses, because the way licenses are now, once you buy them, you only have a little while to return them. Otherwise, you're stuck with them for a year. So we don't want to overcharge our customers for that. We're grabbing using the PAX API, we're getting the company details. And we're checking all the PAX products for the product that we're looking for to get the vendor ID information number to compare that to the Office 365 license counts, because they're not one for one. They has a specific string inside the PAX API that you have to look for. We then check using a no-op for if there's available licenses using some Jinja, which checks the variable set in some of these workflows previously to check to see if they're the consumed count versus the available count. If the consumed count is lower than the available count, we have free licenses. So we then check to see if the amount of requested licenses is greater or equal or less than the amount of licenses that's available. And if so, we do a little bit of different workflow here. Obviously, if there's no current licenses in use, we get the call to Teams, they can approve it. If there is licenses in use, the user is notified via another message, which is just sent directly to the user through Teams. And they'll be notified that the license they've requested is already available within the tenant, and they don't need to purchase a license. The license with the workflow then stops, and no one else is notified. If the license count is different, we calculate that. We update the amount variable that's originally called from the requested amount by reducing it minus the number of available license to what they requested. We send them a message notifying that we're only going to purchase 2 out of the 5 because there's already 3 available, and then the rest of the workflow proceeds as normal, where it asks for the approval, and we determine whether it's approved or denied, update the ticket, update the database, and then update the license. And then, of course, there's error handling and stuff like that for failures. But that's pretty much it. I had some pictures and stuff to show a little bit better, but for some reason they're not here. For instance, like here's an email if a license is approved. Here's the tracking database that's on the main page that also has the button in the app builder for purchasing licenses, which opens a modal for the license form. But we can see when it was purchased, the client, if it was completed, who approved it, who requested it. All this stuff is just tracked in a database locally on-prem so that we have it later on if we need it for easy identification. But that's it.
Thank you. Kelvin made a good point. He said there's a lot of defensive structuring in there. What's your background in? Like, have you done this type of automation, like, kind of before, or?
We've only had Rewst for like a month or two. Most of my I know I've watched a lot of videos in the CluckU and stuff like that where people are like, well, you got to write out the workflow, you got to prior your processes. I do it all on the fly as I build it, and I'm just taking what I know from programming and how to exit and get back in and just applying it to my workflows.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's really great.
A month or two? That's sick. To be able to do that so quickly.
Yeah, I've got
that is impressive as hell.
Yeah, we've got a bunch of I'm doing a lot of Teams integrations to allow, since we're all in Teams, it makes it super easy for mobile devices. If you're a manager or somebody that's not in the office, not in front of their computer, they can approve requests. I have something very similar to that for urgent ticket notifications for dispatch, where they have a form on our toolbox page where they fill out the ticket number, when it needs to be done by. It pings every technician in Teams in different levels and allows people to volunteer themselves to grab the ticket. It assigns them, very similar to how you saw with the Pact workflow. And it also allows management, after a certain amount of time, to volunteer somebody, and they're notified they've been told, you have no choice, you have to do this now, which I think is fun.
That's really awesome. All right, thank you so much. So we have, we've got Emmitt and Rod, who I want to make sure that we get to, and then if we're lucky, we're going to have a little bit more time, but want to make sure that we've got some time for these two as well, because Emmitt, I believe you said that you are like officially kind of like V1 done something here. So like this is kind of like here's my going into production as V1 workflow, right?
Yeah, you guys are actually seeing it before our technicians see it. So this will be a fun little preview for what goes on inside our organization. So we've had this problem with Meraki and layer 7 rules that it's very time consuming. We have a list of countries, about 105 of them that need to be blocked, that we standardize against all of our Meraki devices, all of their firewalls. And a couple of our advanced support techs have come to me and said, hey, this is a very time consuming process. Is there a way to automate it? And so we went to work and finally figured out a solution. So I'm gonna share my screen here. Let me pull up my workflow first. And then, all right, can everyone see my screen? So this is the overview of what happens. It starts right here, and then we do a lot of adaptive cards. So we'll just walk it through on Teams. And I've already got our company selected. So we'll hit add standard, and the V2 and V3 will be the add country and the remove country. I do have add standard working right now. So hit go, and it is waiting I'm waiting for it to give me another thing that I ran into while building this was clients that have multiple firewalls, that have multiple network IDs. So if it detects that there's multiple network IDs, it will give us this secondary pop-up, and we'll say, oh, there's multiple. Let's select the one that we want to work on. We'll do the India office because not a lot of people are there right now. And if it breaks, then it won't lose internet connectivity here. We'll just hit go. And then we didn't want it to be just anyone willy-nilly. Like we need to make sure that there's a verification process, and anyone who knows me likes to, I know they know that I like to put a little fun GIF in my workflows whenever I can. So in all seriousness, we want verification. Because when we start adding the remove country and add country, we don't want to we don't want just to be able to add and remove without any verification check. So we'll hit yes, and we'll hit submit, and then the response was submitted to the app, and we'll switch over to here, and it is already done. So as you can see right now, there's no layer 7 rules, but if I refresh this page, there they are. And that's it. It took me a while to figure this out. I have a lot of revision history. My biggest problem was trying to figure out how to handle transitions, because all of it is handled in the responses. So if we look at this one, there's something in response, but I learned that when I was building this, if I do ctx.response and it's looking for everything in here, at the start of ctx.response, it's going to just take ctx response at its base and then go to the next transition. And I was having a lot of failures with that. So what I ended up doing was adding data aliases in this no-op right here, and saying if ctx.response network name is defined, then we go in here, and then it comes down here to whichever path needs the network name, which is this one, and that's the one that looks for the or if the network name is defined, that's when it sends the verification. So, and that's it. Like I said, V2 and V3 will be adding and removing countries. So what the idea is to, if they select add, it will take the list that is in there and then generate a list of radio button list of ones that they can select that aren't already on the list. We have tested that using this workflow, if there's a layer 7 rule in there that already matches, if I were to rerun that last one, that last result, it won't do anything. It will say that it's successful in the task, but it won't add or add another, duplicate another layer 7 rule. It will just leave it alone. But if there's something different, then it will add a new one. So
it's really awesome. One thing you said was interesting to me, Emmitt. I'm curious if you could tell me where's your favorite place to collect your GIFs from?
Ooh, I normally do Tenor. Tenor GIF is where I get all of my fun ones. Every once in a while I'll branch out, but for the most part, Tenor is where it's at. I was thinking about maybe making a template and making it change the GIF every time. That might be version 4.
Awesome. Okay, so now we are going to jump over to Rod. Rod, you've got something that you've been we've kind of been like two ships crossing in the night here. Tell us a little bit about what you're going to demo.
Yeah, I missed last week, but yeah, to go over what I'm doing here and to give you a little bit of history, we have we do a lot of on-prem stuff, and quite frankly, it's sometimes on-prem stuff can be more challenging with Rewst, because Rewst thrives on stuff that's in the cloud, but when it comes to on-prem, it's relying on your RMM, or you're using the Rewst agent. We had an issue where N-Central crapped out on us. We have 2 instances of N-Central, and our server instance, the API stopped working on it. Like, we reset the keys, did everything. We could not connect to it. It handcuffed us. So many of our scripts, our management stuff, our service desk, they couldn't do things. N-Central wasn't any help. It actually fixed itself after about 2 weeks, and they have no idea why. So I don't really trust End Central. We've actually had it a couple times, issues with them. So I needed to find a better way to run PowerShell scripts locally. First thing I tried was the Rewst agent, which was good, except I ran into a case because of the Azure component. What's the name of the Azure component? Sorry, somebody got that. I'm top of my head. I can't think of it. But
IoT Hub.
The IoT Hub. IoT Hub has a limit of 256K. Well, I need to send SQL queries and stuff to PowerShell to run queries locally in our SQL. They were way bigger than that. So I couldn't run them. So I'm stuck. How do I do this? That's when I discovered PowerShell Universal. Some people may be aware of it and know what it can do, and some people may not. But I'll share my screen, and I'm not going to be going into, obviously, the how useful PowerShell Universal is itself, but it's one aspect of it that became extremely useful for here. Because the one thing that PowerShell Universal allows you to do is set up your own API. So I had set up an API for running a SQL query and an API for just running any script. When you look at the APIs, when the API gets called, basically what happens is this script runs. What this API does is it takes the script that you specify in Rewst and basically enters it in the script block here. So basically this script here is like a package for what you are going to send to PowerShell Universal to run. So within here, I had to set up authentication for key authentication and so forth, an API user. Won't go into all that. The idea is that's all set up. Everything. The question is now using it within Rewst. So the first thing in Rewst is I started playing with it and was doing it through just HTTP commands, but I managed to actually get a custom integration in where all I've got to do, I specify the host that it's going to, and I can specify the API key in here. Now, once that's all in there, I've got, which is the one, run power. I've created a sub workflow to run a PowerShell command. So this is run PowerShell using Universal. I use the integration that I set up. Sets up, it's going to be a post, the URL path, which was set up in PowerShell Universal. And then the body, which is standard, and it is basically the script template. The template is getting input. I'll show you this from here. Same thing. It's the same thing as running basically scripts on anything else. You've just got the input, what the template that you're going to use, and where am I going? It sends it in here. And of course, the one thing I needed was to get the data back, because the API doesn't get the data from the PowerShell script. So if the PowerShell script ran for too long, if I just used the API and returned the data back from the API, quite often you didn't get anything. So I had to implement basically the same method that is used in for End Central or whatever, and that's why this also has an on failure or on success, because sometimes you'll get a failure response from it, but create the webhook, get the webhook results, works the same, and this is really fast to do it. The response on this is wow. I'm reading some of that simple way to in the webhook. I wouldn't call that exactly simple. I was looking at stuff like that, but trying to post the stuff somewhere else and then grab it somewhere else. To me, it just added more places for stuff to go wrong. But the key thing is now I've got an integration with PowerShell Universal, which if people are familiar with it, what you can do with this, it's now added more capability. I've got this set up to just use the simple sending of scripts and getting the results just like N-Central. But now there's a lot more that I can add to this because PowerShell Universal can have published folders. So I can set up the scripts that run here and have CSV files published to a folder in my Universal and get a link to be able to download that file from the stuff in PowerShell Universal and from on site, which just tends to make things a lot simpler. But this works fast, is a lot more reliable, and basically gives another option for running on-prem PowerShells. If there's any questions?
You. Dave said he didn't even know that there was a cloud PowerShell. They're different though, right? They're different. Wasn't that a topic that we were having? That are totally like they're just named the same thing. Maybe that was Kelvin saying that.
Yeah, I don't know about cloud one, but this is just more. Some people may also already have PowerShell Universal or be aware of it. It's not. There is a free version which the API stuff will work with. The paid version is only $500 for a year, so we did add that, so get a bit more features with it. But as I said, it's this isn't about what PowerShell Universal can do. This is more just how to set this up easily and transfer stuff to run stuff off of it from here, like this one here also, because the first one goes to PowerShell Universal, sends a script template. This one is to run a SQL query, which essentially works the same way. The query is set up, the SQL query that I want is set up in here, and the workflow. It's doing the same thing. It's using the same PowerShell Universal. Well, actually, I just realized I didn't change this to the integration. This one's still using the same thing, but using it through a web request. But the same effect. It just uses a different path.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Thanks so much for demoing. If there's any other questions for Raj, you can ask them in the chat. We do have Daniel Raven. Are you on? Do you want to do the demo
sure.
you were mentioning?
I can show
Cool.
something real quick.
Let's jump over to you then.
Alrighty. I have something pretty small for you guys. So what this is we had some work where we needed to create a workflow that would monitor the Meraki, using Meraki, monitor VPNs going up and down. And so I was looking at the Meraki API and I didn't find any calls I could make that would allow me to do that. And then I found the Meraki dashboard. You can set up webhooks there. And it wasn't just for VPNs, it was for like all of these different alerts. And these I'm like, wow, this is a bunch of super useful stuff, like like literally like anything you could think of is right here. So once we were done with that initiative, I brought the workflow back internally, and I wanted just to expand it and kind of open-ended right now, but it's pretty simple, really. You just set up the webhook, and it looks something like this when you do. You just check what you want to do. It's super easy to set up, and then your webhook link spits out at the bottom. Or, sorry, yeah. And then you're just going to ingest whatever you get in, and then categorize, and then go down whichever route you want to take, and then based on that, do whatever you want. I know it's pretty vague right now, but I mean, think of if you get like a rogue access point, you could go further. You could block the access point. You could just, if you just want tickets logged, you could just log it. But really, the sky's the limit. So I guess I wanted to come on the call and just show you guys this kind of baby workflow right now, if anybody has any ideas for it. But just adding more cases as simple as pressing the plus as many times as you want. But yeah, so that's really all I have right now.
Anybody have anything that they want to ask or jump in with or ideas? We'll do the 7 seconds of silence now. Reed.
I've still got this little AI agent project I was working on before I went on vacation last week. I was going to show it off and then missed a couple open mics, but I could show it quick.
Sure, yeah.
Yep.
Thank you so much, Dan. Keep the conversation going in the chat, guys. If you have anything else to add, let's jump over. Let's see what you're doing, Reed.
Yeah, so there's a lot going on here, but just to make the kind of distill it down to the Rewst portion, here is a Azure Foundry AI agent, which is basically you've got chat completions that everybody's familiar with. That's your ChatGPT. Then you've got assistants that can like coordinate agents or coordinate. They can use assistants can use files. That's basically the thing. And then agents can actually execute actions. So we set up the agent. It's a basic ChatGPT 4.1. It's got some instructions like any other chat completion. You can attach file stores to it. So I can give it some files, specific to whatever I want this agent to know about. And then you've got these like functions. And so there's a bunch listed here, but it's how they get there that's kind of the interesting part. So I've got this, and you'll have to forgive me, this is under development, so it's changed a bunch and isn't great to look at. But the point is, when this application starts, it will call this Rewst workflow from a webhook. And this will go out using the GitHub action and pull this JSON file. And I don't know if anybody's seen it. I mentioned it before in Discord, but I've got a library for like calling webhooks from Rewst for .NET that lets you just write these consistent JSON definitions of your webhook, any structured parameters that it needs, and then it manages the secrets for webhooks that wait. So it will call this, the agent software will call the workflow to get that list of defined functions. And then those get loaded in where you saw like within the agent. And now the AI knows how to do call these different Rewst workflows that are kind of like all here. And so it's really neat because like right now, I don't know if I can give a live demo of it, but like I can tell the agent, ask it, what's the health of Yvonne's computer in downtown LA? Well, it will, because it can find like contacts from ConnectWise, it'll say, okay, let's look for Yvonne. Well, it so happens we only have one Yvonne. And so it knows that, oh, she's with this company. And so then it goes out and finds that company's machines in RMM because it knows it has an action that it can find all the computers in RMM based on a company. So the AI works out which of these relevant functions to call, kind of based on these descriptions that are defined. So what's neat about it is that as this is being developed, if I want to add new functionality to the agent, I literally just come write the workflow that does that, and then edit this, add another entry in this file on GitHub. And then the next time the agent is run anywhere by anyone, it's got that new piece of functionality and some new ability that it can do. And so Rewst just makes this all super, super nice and easy and extensible.
Hey, Reed.
Yes.
Next month, when we release the MCP triggers on workflows, you're going to give them a shot?
Oh, 100%. It's going to be neat to see how that fits in, because one of the biggest learning curves in getting to this point is just figuring out kind of what it costs when you turn on different things. Because like this, if I went into the billing section for this Azure instance, I think in like 2 weeks of development and pounding on it and hitting it and doing all kinds of stuff, I ran up like $10 in AI charges. Okay, big deal. I have another one of these that's my personal one where I'm doing similar stuff but trying things differently. I racked up $200 in like 2 days. And there's very little different between what I was doing in the two. It's just how I wound up configuring the two differently. So the MPC server, I mention all that because I've seen it in here. It's another thing, and I don't know the consequences of turning it on. So it'll be curious to see the benefits and the cost of the MCP versus just what I'm doing now, where I've completely automated and integrated any number of workflows I want to integrate.
I saw Daniel with an E on this call on the Rewst side did a demo to us early this morning in an LLM chat interface saying, hey, what automations can I run? And it used MCP, looked at the MCP triggers and responded. And he told it, well, I want to do this. And then it ran the automation. And then he said, I want to see the results. And it returned the results. All this is through. How many tasks did this automation use? And it came back with the count. And, theoretically, you could put required parameters in your workflow and then tell your LLM or AI agent to ask you the questions for those parameters before it runs the automation.
So that's something I already have worked in with the way I've got it implemented. So like the agent will look at those that JSON definition and prompt you to answer any parameters that are missing that it couldn't infer from your initial request. But that's interesting that the MCP then lets you not only execute the functionality you need, but then easily monitor and manage those executions.
Yep. Dan, you want to say anything?
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
So I've actually been working while I was doing this. So I was like loosely paying attention. So what am I supposed to answer?
Never mind. I was just talking about your MCP demo you did today.
Oh yeah. No, it wasn't terribly difficult to set up, and I'm able to do some pretty cool things like listing org variables, workflows, and executing a workflow and providing it inputs. So yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff coming.
Yeah, the goal here is we want you folks to use AI products and make your own agents and LLM interfaces, and then use Rewst as the body, right? The body that your agent can use to go do things.
Yep. I just posted a link in the chat too. If anybody's interested in learning more about some of that Azure Foundry stuff, I created a Notebook LM document about it that just has all the docs, everything. It's because there's some crazy cool stuff in there. And if you go to that link, like I'm just amazed by all the things that it's gonna like open up potential wise for just like stuff that Reed was doing, where it properly can integrate in, and you can turn all of your custom GPTs into assistant APIs. It's insane. It's easy.
Yeah,
them.
and then hooking them up to talk to each other. So that was part of the learning curve. And like, I need to completely redo my agent GUI interface, because now I have a better concept of like, do we have one agent everybody's using? Are we all creating our own agents? How focused is an agent, right? And the answers seem to be everybody gets their own, and probably lots of them. But yeah, the amount of stuff that you can do, like I say, the ability for me to just tell it about a client and a problem, and then have it go find all the relevant information, make a ticket, put notes on the ticket. Like, we're really hoping it's going to help with issues we have with engineers and recording time and things. If the AI agent's sitting right there next to you and actually doing your ticket notes while it's assisting you, right, then you're going to get your time.
All right, everybody. It's getting to be about that time. I don't want to run over. Thank you for everyone who demoed, especially the first-time demoers. We want to see in any given hour in Rewst, at least 100 workflows are created or modified. So there are a lot of you folks that are not demoing and talking about the cool stuff you're doing. So please reach out to George or Ashe so we can get you on. And thank you for the folks who continue to demo. I know it's stressful and it takes time out of your day, so thank you very much. Thank you, Ashe, for putting this together. And have a good weekend, everyone. We'll see you again next week.
Meow.
Meow.
Meow.